Adventures.
Hey guys, it's Chuke here from Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, I have enjoyed this series about bear attacks and bear defense, and another headline caught my attention. Now, this one was from Wisconsin, and what stood out about it is the man had a Glock 20 10mm on him, and he was defending himself at close range against a black bear. Now, what some people don't realize is sometimes black bears are considered more dangerous than brown bears in the sense that we have more attacks from black bears. They are more curious, they come into town a lot, they dig into trash. There's a lot more of them, and people think that they're just furry little teddy bears because they're much smaller than a brown bear. Sometimes they look silly and goofy and they're trying to beg for scraps, but they are very dangerous. They get close to you. They have killed people, and we have had several incidents within the last 5 or 6 years here in Alaska where black bears have killed people and fed on their body. They are a predator, even though they will eat whatever. If they're hungry, they will kill you and eat you if you are not prepared in the right area. It has happened before. So in the lower 48, there are all kinds of black bears in many states where there are not brown bears. And a lot of times I get emails and questions asking, what caliber would be suitable for a black bear in their state. Now, what I say, especially after reading some of these articles, is if the 10mm is good enough for a black bear or a brown bear, then of course it's going to be good enough for a black bear. So this is an interesting story. It was a little confusing. I got this from the Pierce County Journal, and it is the story of Ryan Bierman and his son Owen Bierman, who was 12 years old at the time. This is from October in 2024, so I probably missed it because this was right around the time all these attacks in Alaska and Wyoming and Idaho and Montana were happening with the brown bears. So the article was a little confusing, but I looked at some other articles to kind of get the full picture. So Ryan Bierman, his 12-year-old son of River Falls, thought they would be embarking on a normal hunting and fishing trip to their cabin near Siren. Now, another article said that there are 24,000 black bears in Wisconsin, which is that's pretty impressive. That's a lot of black bears. That's a big black bear population, so it makes sense that there would be open hunting there. So they found a bear, the boys shot it, and then they were using their neighbor's dog to track it through some thick brush and darkness. He talked about how sometimes there's not a big blood trail because the fur soaks up the blood. What I have found with bears, if they have fat on them, that's when they don't bleed a lot. Other skinny bears, they will bleed a lot if it's a good shot and you'll find a blood trail. I've tracked bears before. So they're tracking it, and then suddenly this black bear was on him. It was a 200-pound black bear. Now, some people may scoff at that. 200 pounds. I mean, that's just imagine a 200-pound dog that had, sharp claws and a massive jaw. I mean, that creature will kill you. And what's interesting is he said it pounced like a cat, or it crouched like it was getting ready to pounce, exactly like a cat. And that was pretty fascinating. So he pulled his Glock 20 10mm, and he said he only had time to fire from the hip, and he emptied it. And what confused me about this article is it didn't say if he hit the bear or not. He emptied it, and then he was wrestling with the bear, and he started just pounding the bear in the face with his Glock 20. And the bear bit him up pretty good. He's got a bunch of stitches on his cheek, bit his face. And eventually, the man's son got a shot with, and I'm assuming it's his rifle. It doesn't say that he had a pistol because he was the one hunting that shot the bear initially, and shot the bear off his dad, and it rolled off, and then he went to get medical attention. But the two had come out of the battle alive, it says. So that's pretty interesting. I think it was at close range, and I'm not sure if the guy got a good shot. I tend to think not. If he was firing from the hip and it was just leaping at him, he might have grazed it, might not have hit a good vitals or a spot to take the bear down. I think if he was able to get the sights in his picture, like he said, I wasn't able to look down the sights and, you know, shoot the black bear, unload right in center mass of the head, I think it would have turned out a little different. I think he would have taken that bear down. Now, I wish they would have said the ammunition used, because it's always really helpful if we know if it was 200 grain hard cast, 220 grain hard cast, solid copper, a hollow point. It's really interesting to know what he was using. Now, I traded in my Glock 20 for a Glock 29 just to have a little bit more ability to carry this concealed going from city to woods. And when Chuck and I have tested the Glock 29, we haven't really lost that much velocity with this shorter barrel. It really surprised us that we're still getting good velocity from the Glock 29 with the shorter barrel. Now, of course, I am planning on getting a KKM barrel. That's going to extend it closer to a Glock 20. I'm also going to get better lockup, and that's going to give me better ballistics and power. Now, a good 10 millimeter round is going to give you over 600 foot-pounds of energy, you know, 650, 680 is what I like to see. And that is good stopping power for a large predator. Now, I also have to say, I love the Springfield Elite XDM line. I'm waiting for them to come out with the 5.25-inch barrel. It's really odd that they haven't done that, because the first generation, that was very popular. Now we have the Elite, which is even better. Now these, you know, a standard Glock 20 will have 15+1 in the magazine. This has 16+1, and it's just got a really good trigger, and these are rock solid. They've been torture tested. They do not jam. Here I have a Dan Wesson Razorback. If you like 1911s, this is a 1911 chambered in 10 millimeter. This has been solid shooter for me. Hasn't, you know, jammed or anything, even with 200 grain hard cast. So, I mean, something like this is a good choice. I tend to aim better with the grip angle of a 1911. Now, there is the argument that maybe a 44 Magnum or something like this, 40-54 Casull would be better. And if you can shoot it better, absolutely, because this is, those 10 millimeters are underpowered compared to a big bore revolver with, you know, hot loads. So something like this is great too. I tend to kind of go in the middle, and what I have here is an FNX 45 tactical with the 460 Roland barrel and kit installed. Now what this does is it gives me almost 44 Magnum power, arguably the low end of 44 Magnum power in a semi-auto platform with much higher capacity than a revolver. I can fit, you know, like 13 in this mag of 460 Roland hardcast. So I think this is the best of both worlds in some, you might say, just because of the sheer power, capacity, and ability to get shots off quickly. It's pretty impressive, and I've got some emails and messages about people who have adopted this platform, and it is very popular here in Alaska. You can find 460 Roland on the shelf. So kudos to the man and the boy here who survived. I love stories like this. Interested to know if any of the 10 millimeter shots hit, but stay safe out there. This year has just been crazy. Ever since the summer, we had bear attacks in Kodiak, you know, brown grizzly bears in Alaska attacking people, people fending them off, actually killing them with 10 millimeters, the one in Kodiak with 12 gauge shotguns, and then Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, we had that spat of grizzly attacks like every week on those elk hunters. That was just crazy. So I hope next season won't be a repeat of this, but I think people need to be safe. They need to stay armed. And I do believe in bear spray to a point where I think you should have both. Sometimes it can be a good deterrent if a bear is just showing interest and not charging. But if a bear is charging, I wouldn't bet my life on bear spray. you know, more times than not, the bear just runs through that cloud if he's a few feet away and just mauls the guy. Whereas if they have a firearm, they've got a good chance of taking that bear down. So let me know what you guys think. Really enjoyed this series, and I will have a video up in the morning. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, no, I get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10mm. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you go outside.